Welcome to another episode of the A Sports Podcast. My name's Art, here with my brother Alex.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Alex, first UFC event of 2021 of the new year, coming up this Saturday. Hopefully, you guys are watching this on Friday or early Saturday. This is the UFC's first event on ABC. You have any thoughts about them being on ABC?
No, but I think it's good that they have it on ABC.
Honestly, I think it's a big deal. I think that's ESPN showing that they are 100% behind the UFC. You know, because I mean ABC on a Saturday afternoon. I think that's a pretty big deal. You know, so definitely that means there's money there. That means there's commitment from ESPN to broadcast the UFC, and hopefully we get some good fights. We're gonna get a lot of eyes on this card. Remember when the UFC moved to Fox the first time, and it was Junior Dos Santos against Cain Velasquez, and in their first fight on Fox, people were disappointed because it was a quick knockout. But I think this card is shaped out to be a really good card, a really exciting card. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's pretty exciting.
All right, well,
I thought the undercards could have been a little better, but I'm not going to get too picky about it. You know what? With this pandemic going on, any fights that we get are good.
We're going to start off with the main event. Max Holloway, ranked number 1 at featherweight, taking on Calvin Kattar, ranked number 6 at featherweight. Break it down for us. What do we need to know heading into this fight?
Max Holloway coming off a tough loss against Alex Volkanovski. A lot of people thought he won that fight.
2 tough losses.
Right. People think he should be the champion right now. And yeah, I mean, I think we saw a different Max Holloway against Alex Volkanovski the second time. In those first 2 rounds, he rocked Alex Volkanovski. He looked a lot faster. He looked like he hit harder. And he said that he did no sparring for that fight. So maybe he just didn't wear his body down. Maybe he didn't have to take all that punishment in the gym. That probably played a factor into it. Now, Calvin Kattar, I think he's got one of the best, some of the best boxing in all of MMA. I think the way he puts his combinations together is really good. Let's see, he had a good win over Jeremy Stevens.
Mm-hmm.
He lost a close fight with. He lost a close fight with Magomed Sharipov.
Mm-hmm.
Then he beat Jeremy Stevens, knocked him out, stopped him in the second round, I believe. And then he fought Dan Ige in a close fight. I thought Calvin Kattar was going to steamroll Dan Ige, but apparently Dan Ige is a very tough guy.
Yeah, definitely.
So Calvin Kattar had a really tough fight with him. Yeah, I can't wait for these guys to square off. What do you think?
I think Holloway's in an interesting position because he lost to the champion twice. So, you know, we expect him to kind of fight guys that are low in the rankings, like Kattar, in order for him to get a title shot again. But he's fighting this number 6 ranked Calvin Kattar, where the casual audience is going to say, well, number 6, well, the number 1 guy should win. And if he does win, well, okay, he was supposed to win, you know, to the casual audience. But to hardcore MMA fans or hardcore fans in general, this fight is a big deal because if Holloway cannot beat Calvin Kattar, then Holloway drops in the rankings. And not only that, he's going to have to battle his way back up to a featherweight title shot. Calvin Kattar is really, really good. Like you said, had those wins over Jeremy Stevens and Dan Ige last year, which helped him climb the ranks. Magomed Sharipov, we have not heard of.
Yeah,
since he beat.
Not sure what's going on with him.
Since he beat Kattar. So I know Cater's been wanting that rematch, but you know he's moving along. He's moving ahead with his career. Even though he lost, he's definitely making his way up the ranks and trying to get that title shot. If Kattar was to win this fight, do you think a title shot's next for him?
Most likely, no.
Okay.
I don't think so. If he wins this fight, I mean, That's a possibility depending on when we see Magomed Sharipov. We haven't seen this guy in
A long
that
time.
I can remember maybe 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even heard of him. Nobody's talking about him anymore because it's like, well, what is he hurt? Does he have some?
Yeah, what's going on? Pretty much.
Does he have some issues going on? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. So maybe Calvin Kattar can get a title shot.
True.
They were talking Alexander Volkanovski versus Magomed Sharipov, and then we haven't heard of Magomed Sharipov, so we don't know. So Calvin Kattar's in a good spot right now. If we somehow hear from Magomed Sharipov and all this other stuff, then we're gonna see if Calvin Kattar has to take another fight. Maybe it's Calvin Kattar in the rematch with Magomed Sharipov. He lost a really close. That fight was a really close one, so I'm sure Calvin Kattar would like to have that one back.
Yeah. Do you have any projection? Who are you picking in this fight?
I think Max Holloway is going to be able to pull it off. From what I've seen, Max Holloway versus Alexander Volkanovski in the second fight, I think he made those adjustments that he needed to. I think he spent more time boxing. He spent more time on his combinations. He was faster. He hit harder. And it just seemed like he didn't, how can I say it? I feel like he didn't take all that punishment in the gym. He probably has some pretty hard sparring sessions. And knowing Max Holloway.
Yeah.
Knowing Max Holloway, he likes to stand in there and trade.
Yeah.
Sometimes, so
and sparring.
yeah, but I think in this fight, I think he's going to be able to control the distance. I'm sure Calvin Kattar is going to have some success, but I think Max Holloway is going to be able to get him controlling the distance, his combinations, and I actually like that Max Holloway showing more power. Okay. Because I feel like in his other fights, it was more like he's wearing guys down.
Volume.
Yeah, by the time the fourth and fifth round comes around, I mean, these guys are already, their faces all battered up. We saw Brian Ortega, he was getting destroyed. Mm-hmm. But now I think Max Holloway can really rock some guys and stop guys. So
yeah.
I can't wait to see that one. But it's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, I'm taking Max Holloway. I think he is just he like you said, he should control. But like you said, Calvin Kattar will have his moments, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if Calvin Kattar pulled it off. But I think people, you go back and you look. Well, he lost 2 to Volkanovski, and then he had lost that fight to Poirier. Before that, or a couple fights before that. He's kind of like, in that zone where people are like, okay, well, where is he? What is he? And I think this is a good fight for him to prove that either that he's still on top of the featherweight ranks, or that, Calvin Kattar is there and belongs to be inside the top 5 rankings, and maybe even get a title shot after this. So very exciting fight. I think it's a great fight to put on ABC to start their little, their venture into broadcasting the UFC.
And all the respect to Calvin Kattar, because he has really good boxing abilities. So if he lands on Max Holloway, he has the potential to hurt him, maybe even stop him.
He's a great boxer.
All right, because he caught Jeremy Stephens with a beautiful elbow that dropped him, and then he was able to finish him.
Yep.
You don't just finish a guy like Jeremy Stephens.
No.
And he weathered a storm in the first round because Jeremy Stephens came out to try to take his head off.
Yep.
And everybody knows Jeremy Stephens can crack.
Yep.
So if you can survive a guy like Jeremy Stephens, I mean, it should give you confidence that you're going to be able to take what Max Holloway has.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good fight. I hope it's a bloodbath.
I think it's going to be a great, entertaining fight. They both have the style of just beating each other up. They don't have a style to try to go for the one-punch knockout.
Yeah,
These
they
guys
don't want to take it to the ground.
No, they're stand-up
Calvin
fighters.
Kattar did that or was it Dan Ige that took him down?
I think Ige took him down, if I remember correctly. Because Ige is a little more of a ground grappler. All right. Any last thoughts on the Holloway Kattar?
No. You know what? I'm looking forward to it.
Moving on to the undercard. On the undercard, we have a bunch of fights. As you can see, we got some of the pictures of the guys at the bottom. We'll start with the middle picture. Carlos Condit taking on Mike Brown. Any thoughts on that fight?
I think it's Matt Brown.
Matt Brown.
You know what? I think this should be a good fight. I saw Carlos Condit. I'm not sure what he has against Matt Brown. I don't know if they got a little bit of beef going on or what's going on. But I heard in an interview that Carlos Condit did on YouTube that he is going to F up Matt Brown.
Oh,
That's exactly what he said. So
that's what I like to hear.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he has a chip on his shoulder because we all know Carlos Condit's been on. He's had a bumpy career as of late.
Yeah.
He's been on the side of a couple losses, and all I'm saying is better have his head screwed on straight because Matt Brown, if he tags you, it's over.
Yep. Was Matt Brown the one that knocked out Diego Sanchez with that ridiculous elbow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of people, I don't know, they don't really like to see Matt Brown right now in this stage of his career just because he's up there in age, and we understand that, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities for him to win this fight. He could stop Carlos Condit.
Oh, definitely.
We haven't seen Carlos Condit in a while, so
yeah,
who knows?
It's an intriguing fight. I think they could definitely put on a show, and I think that's why ABC picked some of these fights. They want guys that can put on a show, that can show out for the casual audience that'll be watching, because I think they're going to bring in a different fan base with this card. One of the undercard fights, Ponzinibbio's taking on Jing Liang. Any thoughts on that fight? I think that should be a pretty good fight.
Yeah, that one should be a good fight. Ponzinibbio hasn't. I don't know. I thought we were going to see Ponzinibbio. I don't even think he's ranked, is he?
No.
You know what? I thought Ponzinibbio had a lot of momentum when he beat Mike Perry. I thought he was going to be the next guy, to be up in the rankings.
I think he had a couple injuries, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. But he's a very talented stand-up fighter. So this one should be a good fight. And he has power. He has speed. He's accurate. So I can't wait to see this one too. And
after looking up Jing Liang, hopefully I'm saying his name right, Jing Liang, he's also a stand-up fighter. So the only way I see this fight going to the ground is if somebody gets dropped. So
yeah.
So there's another good fight, another good clash of styles for this ABC card. And finally, the last name that was notable on the undercard, Joaquin Buckley, coming off the knockout of the year for 2020 in that last, it was in the last month, right?
Yeah.
In December. Talk to me about Buckley.
I mean, pulled off in probably the greatest knockout we've probably ever seen in MMA in all time. I mean, what was it?
All time?
Possibly. I mean, who's done that?
Okay, so everybody likes the Masvidal. Everybody likes the Masvidal knockout of Ben Askren because it was quick, it was instantaneous. I think like McGregor's knockout of Aldo was a big deal for a while.
Right.
But I think Masvidal's overtook that with the flying knee. Like, how many flying knees do you see?
Right.
And then there was that one knockout. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before, where the guy was on the bottom and he hammer fisted. The guy on type. I don't remember the name.
I don't know if it was Nico Price.
I think it was Nico Price that won by knockout. He was on the bottom and he hammer fisted the opponent on top of him, and he pretty much knocked him out while he was on his back. But this Joaquin Buckley knockout, if you haven't seen it, go back, look it up. Joaquin Buckley, first thing that shows up, his opponent had his leg held, and he just did this weird spinning. I don't know what they called it. Did they come up with a name for it? I have zero clue what it is. To me, it's like an Enziguri, shining wizard, something. But yeah, I mean, there we go. Another guy who could definitely put on a show with another spectacular knockout. He's still coming up. He's not ranked yet. He's definitely not in like a contender status, but he's on his way up. And with knockouts like his last fight, and then a good performance this week, he could definitely make some noise. I believe he's a middleweight, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure. We'll check back on that. But yeah, any thoughts on the undercard?
No, you know what? I think it's gonna be some good fights, and I can't wait to see them. What about you? Anything in particular you're looking at?
I'm looking at the Ponzinibbio fight.
Okay.
I think Ponzinibbio had, like you said, he had a lot of momentum, stalled out by some injuries, but I think he could definitely show out and get back on track. I think he's to me, he's the most interesting undercard fight. Of course, I think the main event is definitely the fight of the night, the fight to keep an eye on. So we'll definitely update you guys after the fight, give you guys our thoughts, give you guys a review. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, Joaquin Buckley is a middleweight.
Middleweight, okay.
So, yeah, should be a good fight.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching this episode of the AA Sports Podcast, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Peace out, guys.